Daily Dose here. I had a thought today and I want to go and just make a video about it because it's really just been on my mind these last couple days, and I think I just need to make a video about it because I've just recently been going through just some, it's like sadness and happiness at the same time. So like and subscribe if you can. Let's jump right on into the video. So today's video is actually about my grandpa. Grandpa Boyd. I won't give his first name, but Grandpa Boyd. Sorry if I get a little choked up about this, but this is something I just want to do, and it's something that needs to be done as well. My grandpa passed away around 4 years ago when I had just become an RN. It was my second RN job, and I'll never forget when I was at work when I got the news that he had passed away. He cared so much about his wife, Mrs. Boyd, or Grandma Boyd, and he would just do anything for her. I'll go back a little bit. Before I was even born, this was a couple years before I was born, my grandma had a massive stroke. She had a stroke that made it where half of her body is paralyzed, essentially. She had to learn how to re-walk again, cook, everything. And during this whole process, for example, when my mom lived out of state and another one of my mom's siblings lived out of state, my grandpa worked a full-time job while taking care of her post-stroke. And, I didn't even think about this, but probably, a year after it happened, because I was just taking it all in, him passing and whatnot, thinking about the hours of frustration, happiness, not knowing what's going to happen, and him staying consistent and always being with Grandma this whole time. Because he was in his probably 60s, and she was mid 50s or 60s as well. I can't remember the exact age when she had a stroke, but my mom would always try to go down and help, but he was like, look, I've got this, I can take care of her. My mom would help out when she could, but he was just somebody who was like, this is my wife, I'm going to take care of her, and I love her. And anyway, sorry about that little backstory, but looking back at him throughout the years of me growing up, I can truthfully say I've seen what a true relationship is between two people who from start to finish cared so much about each other that was always their priority regardless of the circumstance. There were times in the nursing home toward the end, my grandma's still alive, but there were times toward the end where if my grandma was sent to the hospital, my grandpa couldn't focus. He would just get sick because all he wanted to do was be with her all the time. He cared for her. Getting them to go into a nursing home was really rough as well because he's always wanted to take care of her. And I really respect somebody who's willing to do that, because there are a lot of easy way outs when this kind of stuff happens where somebody just gives up, doesn't want to put forth the work. But if you truthfully love somebody, if you truthfully do, you will do whatever it takes to get them where they need to be, or even regardless of the situation, get them in the best hands, or work with them in any way to make them reach their fullest potential with whatever they've been through. They met, so the story behind it is where they met was my grandma came from she was a little bit more wealthy, middle-ish class in Kentucky. My grandpa came from a family of, I think he had 8 or 9 siblings. He's the only one. When he passed, all the other ones had passed. He was the last surviving one. He came from a very, 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 very poor family in Kentucky. Very poor. His mom passed away when he was like 11 or 12. A couple siblings passed away from cardiovascular issues. And, the willpower that man had to just keep pushing forward, to fight for another day, that he's going to find something in life that'll make him happy. I applaud him for that. He met her, he was actually working at this, it was a summer camp, I believe it was like a church camp out in Kentucky, and he was working it, he didn't have enough money to go to it, but that's where he met Grandma Boyd. And interestingly enough, when she met him, she actually had a long-term boyfriend slash, I guess you could say, I think they were engaged, but back then a lot of times, as it was explained to me, it wasn't an arranged marriage she was in originally, but it was kind of like her mom, so my great-grandma, and the other family of this guy who was in the military were really close friends and family, and that's kind of where they started dating. But it was something that Grandma even wrote down to this day, saying that it was just it was more friendly than anything. But when she met Grandpa, at first, so she was in a church camp. It was like, and I think they were in like doing choir stuff at the time. She met him because he was cleaning up there while they had finished their choir practice, the girls' choir practice. And he went up to her. He saw her, because I'll never forget him saying, he's like, yeah, I saw her in there and I couldn't take my eyes off of her. And when it was over, he went directly up to her and said, how about we date? And that was his like exact words, how about we date? And she goes, no, I wouldn't. I'm not going to date you. I'm with somebody already. But he was persistent and persistent and persistent and persistent. He was like, let me just show you the lake where they were at. And he would take her out a couple times, but more in a group setting. And then finally at the church camp, at the very end, it was like a 2-month thing. There was a little dance, and her boyfriend at the time that was in the military did not show up. And my grandpa was there working it, but when he found that out, he immediately found some clothes. I don't know who he got them from. And he was like, let me take you, let's dance together. And she said, okay, fine. And that's when he told me, he goes, we looked in each other's eyes, and my grandma can't talk and speak on it, but she can nod and write. And he told her, when I looked in your eyes for the first time, that close, I knew you were mine. And my grandma wrote, like, what she said back essentially was, I feel the same way. And from that point on, he went on. At first, the family did not want those two marrying because she was marrying a poor boy. That's what it was at the time, a poor boy, a poor white boy. But he stayed consistent. They dated. He eventually went over to their house. Her name is Grandma Stowe, or great grandma Stowe. She did not approve of Grandpa Boyd. I'll just tell you his name, Jimmy. He did not approve of Jimmy. But that didn't stop him. And eventually the family came around and they were together. He got a degree. And from then on out, I'm telling you, they were together all the time. They love each other. That's what love is. And it's not like you have to be with your significant other all the time. But in my opinion, you should always be spending as much time as you can with them, because you never know when it will be your last. And when he passed, a thing I thought of was he cared so much about her that he, regardless of his own health, he would do whatever he had to do. I'll never forget one time when he was really, really sick. This was when I was probably in high school, had the flu. Even though he was sick, he would hide it from everyone, and he still would be right by her and help her in any way while working 40 hours a week. And that's what I'm hoping at some point to become, is not have that situation, but just from here on out, just always being there for my significant other all the time. She's great in every way. Sometimes I feel like she cares for me way more than I do for her, even though I do care for her. But, you know, that's my goal, is to be like my grandpa and just always be there for the ones you love. If I have kids, I hope to have kids in the future. I hope to just be able to have, truthfully, a family where we have reciprocated love back and forth at all times, and we do anything for each other. And that's the goal. When he passed, I'll never forget. Sorry. When he passed, it was kind of all of a sudden he got really bad when he passed, because my grandma had to go to the hospital. She had fallen in the nursing home. She was sent out, and that put him into essentially shock. And he passed. And he from there he got developed pneumonia and passed within a week. But the last thing I'll never forget that he said to me, or one of the last things, this is one thing that I wish I would have, you know, just paid more attention to, was he said, "We love you. We love you." It was never just him. It was always him and Wilma, Jimmy and Wilma, my grandparents. "We love you, and we always want you to do what you want to do, and do whatever makes you happy in this life, and always care for others when nobody else will care for them." You know, I was thinking about that, and it's something that's actually really, it's so powerful looking at it now. And I've just been thinking about those lines about just making sure you're helping others. And especially the ones you love, or the ones who aren't loved that need loved. That's one reason I think I still work in mental health, but I don't know. It's just something I have to get off my chest. I wanted to also show you guys a few things that he gave me. And once again, I'm doing this video because I've just been thinking about him a lot recently. He's my hero. He's truthfully my hero. When he passed, I noticed our whole family was really not torn, but just he was the backbone of it. And my goal would be to make sure I always tell, in particular, family and, you know, my future wife, regardless of the problems, the trials, the tribulations we're in, or just in general, my wife, that I love you. I love you always. My grandma, I'll tell you right now, can't speak from the stroke, but she can sing, which is very interesting. But one thing she could say was, and she'll still say it today, is when we always leave, it's "love you always." And that's the most powerful and beautiful thing. That's what keeps us humans going sometimes. I just can't even imagine what she's been through without him. She always cries. She always cries. It's hard to look in the picture books because of it. But I don't mean to cry, I'm sorry. But I wanted to show everyone 2 things that I got when he passed. And it's just little things. My parents put some things together for Christmas. The first Christmas we didn't have him, and they gave me, it was just a newspaper, little article. He loved reading the cartoons in the newspaper. And he always kept one of his favorite ones, and it just said on it, guess what, mommy, you've got a bigger boy today. And it's just little things like this, because he cared about family so much. Sorry, I'm trying to show it. Then there's also a rubber band of his, because he loved rubber bands, and he kept for each one of us a rubber band, even that he just gave to us. And even when it broke, he said, "When I pass, I want you to just have these." A rubber band and a paper clip. That's probably so old, but there's a paper clip on there too. And then he liked to write down Bible verses and stuff a lot. My parents cut one of them for me right here. It's just a piece of paper, but these are the things that to me matter the most. And just this, and then he was really good he was really good. on the organ and piano, and he loved playing. He got this when it came out. The old Star Wars was, he loved playing. He loved Star Wars, and this is one of his favorite music pieces right here. The dun 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 dun. He loves that. He could literally, the crazy thing about him was he could pick up anything, look at a piece of music once, and play it. And he couldn't even really read music. He could hear something on a radio and then just start playing it. He could do everything by ear. But this is the first thing he told me, that when he really wanted to get a better idea of learning how to play, not by ear, but just learning how to play in general by notes, this is the first thing right here was Star Wars. He was so good on the piano. So good. But sorry everyone if this wasn't a video you were expecting, but this is something I just wanted to do. Yeah, this is your daily dose of mental health. I love you all, and I'll be putting out more videos. I'm still doing the 365 days of running, and I'm doing well. I don't know why. I just had to do this, but love you all. Keep your loved ones close to you. I'm telling you, keep them close to you. Siblings, even friends. Friends, keep them close to you, because you never know when it'll be the last time you see them. Family, when you're in fights, if you're in a fight with somebody, just please, even if you feel like you're the right one and they're being stubborn, just talk to them. Just talk to them. And even if you have to say you're not right and it's whatever, you don't want to have a relationship that was great and then it just got turned sour. But I love you all. Check out my short series. I'll be putting out more content soon, and I'll be putting out a murder mystery soon. I know I said I was going to do that a couple weeks ago, but I had some stuff come up, but I'm still going to be starting that playlist. Love y'all.